Do we start the kata now? What do you know about that? We're actually on schedule. It could happen. Indian stretchable time, Indian standard time, so we're actually on time. Welcome to Pacific Beach. A few quick requests. I'm insignificant, and I prove that regularly. But the topic is important. So out of respect for the topic, if you have a cell phone, and who doesn't, you'd be surprised to find out that there's an off button. There's a silent mode. And we make this announcement, and people always think, well, he's talking about the person next to me. So then, as they do at our Bhaktivedanta Manor in London, we say, what they do at our temple in London is that if your cell phone goes off during the kata, you have to give 10 pounds in the hundi. You know, I don't know what the English equivalent, somebody can tell us what the exchange rate is. Now the thing is, when we ask out of respect for the message, nobody moves. When we say if it goes off, it's going to cost you 10 pounds, oh, everybody reaches in and shuts off their phone. So if it goes off, life will go on, no worries. But if you have a cell phone and you know where the off button is, great, please do so, out of respect for the message. The other thing is it's hard for small children to sit for a long time. And we have a patio they can play in. We have a Sunday school going on in the house next door. So if you've got a little kid, every kid gets 3 shots. Like baseball, 3 strikes. So just, they'll be happier, you'll be happier, and the audience will be happier. So, and if they go off, life goes on. Okay, so we've done the basic housekeeping. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Tanamani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharini Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paskacha Desatarani Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. I should say about this hill, she's going to be embarrassed. Maybe she's, Lila Sara, right there, Devi Dasi, made this hill. And a whole lot of work went into it. So every year she makes, almost every year, she makes a Govardhan hill. And it's got the nice rain coming down. It's a lot of work went into this. So as a special project, anyone who wants to take this Govardhan Hill home, maybe you want to take it home for your kids, maybe whatever you may want to do, you can just give a donation. You can there's our temple treasurer, our head pujari, saintly person, Dayanidhi Prabhu. You can just see Dayanidhi Prabhu and give a donation. We'll use that donation. We're doing more detailed work on the temple, so it'll go for that. So have I finished my public service announcements? I think so. All right, so today is a very special day. It's Govardhan Lila, and we'll explain just briefly what that's about. Now, what makes it even more special is that this temple, like you have New Jersey, you have New York, you have New this, New that, this temple was given the name New Govardhan. And our beautiful deities are Radha, Giridhari. And if you look in the corner, if you look in the motifs in the corner, it's Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill. So this temple and our deity, they have the mood and flavor of Govardhan Puja. So it's a very special place, a special day for us. Now, if I can find my glasses, are there a bunch of people in the hallway? Can we pretend we're on an Indian bus and move a little closer and make room for more people? Do we need, because I notice people are outside? Or is it just too much? Everybody thinks I'm talking to somebody else. Yeah, I don't bite, I'm vegetarian. You can come closer. And I think if you guys come a little bit closer, some people in the patio, Yeah. Come on up. Yeah. Anyway, let's not make a big deal out of it. I just feel sorry for people sitting in the hall. So, and I did take some notes. Let's see here. Don't worry about it, don't worry. So, a couple things just to get started with. The tendency is often to think this Govardhan Lila, well, it's folklore. My grandmother used to tell it to me as a nice story. It's an allegory, it's an analogy, but it's not really historical fact. And how could it happen anyway? So this is not uncommon that these seeds of misunderstanding and doubt are there. So we're going to address a few of those to get started. Another point I'll try to make first is that these days are not just, oh, I come, I see my friends. That's all well and good. And there will be nice prasadam. Krishna's, one of our painters, all these paintings were done by devotees, ISKCON devotees, and all the paintings in our books are done by devotees. So one devotee had a picture of Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill. Now he's only, what, 7 years old, 6 years old, 7 years old? Yeah. But the painter painted Krishna with big muscles. Like Charles Atlas, he's lifting Govardhan Hill. Prabhupada said, no. When he saw the picture, he said, Krishna's a little fat from Mother Yasoda's cooking. So Krishna doesn't need to lift weights. We'll get into that in a minute. But, well, we'll say it this way. These days are not just, oh, let me remember some folk story. Let me get a little nice prasadam. Let me say hi to my friends, and I go home and watch cricket. That's not what's happening. These days are special days. It's a time for introspection. Human form of life, Vedanta Sutra begins, Atato Brahma Jigyasya, that the human form of life is time for introspection, for self-realization. And these days are a chance to stop and think for a moment. We'll get into that in a second. My spiritual master, the founder of the Hare Krishna movement, is a Murti of Srila Prabhupada. He used to say that you see children playing on the beach sometimes. They're making sand castles. And I saw some kids down here the other day. They had a paper crown they'd gotten from somewhere. The other one made a crown out of seaweed. And so they had their little king and queen, and they made their, But they were so absorbed in their playing, they didn't notice something. What happens in the tidal area? It's a big hint for you. What happens? Does the water stay at one fixed line? It moves. It has tide. It has up and down. So the children were so absorbed in their playing, and they had quite a decorative castle and moat and whole thing, They didn't notice that the tide had shifted, and all of a sudden the water came and everything was gone. So Prabhupada, my spiritual master, gives the example that the tide of time and tide wait for no one, that we are all influenced by time. The Bhagavad Purana, the Srimad Bhagavatam, gives the example that sometimes in a river there will be an eddy, a cross current, and the sticks and twigs will come together, and then the current will change and they're all scattered. So frankly, we have love and respect for our parents, our duties to our children, to our nation. There's so many duties. But we should always remember that we're brought in a certain circumstance, a certain place, certain relatives, certain friends, certain place in society. But it's just the temporary movement of time. We're here for the moment, and time will change. The current will change. And where do we go? What happens at the time of death? So these are times to think about. They have a saying that the graveyard is full of indispensable people. You follow that? Oh, how will the world go on without me? Well, it's managed to go on for thousands of years without us. So it's a chance just to In addition to, it's fun to be together, it's nice prasadam, see the beautiful deities, see the beautiful Govardhan Hill. But it's good to also think the background. Take a moment. It's a time out to think about where am I going and what really matters in life. Okay. So we're saying that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, God Himself, comes down to this world and performs wonderful pastimes. Well, several doubts arise often. Well, if God is all present everywhere, inside every atom, how can the Supreme Being, Supreme Cause of all causes, have a form? Isn't that limiting God? To say that God has a form and a place, isn't that limiting the unlimited? Appears to be a contradiction. Well, let me ask you a question, my friends. Can anyone here think of something that you see almost every day, especially in San Diego, you see almost every day, that is both localized, fixed, and has form, but also is present everywhere? If you don't get it right, you still get prasadam, don't worry. I heard somebody said something. The sun. Defend your answer, sir. I can point to the sun. There's the sun. There's the sun globe. I've seen people put their hand in it like little kids. Oh, the sun's gone. No. You just block the view. But it's localized, right? And yet it's shining everywhere. Now, shouldn't the cause, the source of unlimited suns, have the potency of the sun? If he can create something, unlimited suns, that are present everywhere and also localized, the source of that, the creator of all that, can have a form, can't exist somewhere and also be present everywhere? No. So it makes complete sense. So that's one thing. The Supreme Cause of all causes is both all-pervasive, present in everyone's heart, and has his own place and pastimes and activities. Well, how do we even know that such a thing exists? How do we even know there's a Supreme Being? Formless or with a form? Oh, well, yeah, that's just your wishful thinking. It's for old ladies and people afraid of death. Have anyone, here's another question for you, and you can tell me later on, because I don't want to take up too much time on this. Can you think, I've asked this question of college professors, of yogis, and the average man on the street or lady on the street, can you think of anything or place or activity where there's pattern, order, and design that does not have intelligence behind it? Did we just walk in here one day and poof, this beautiful Govardhan Hill was here? Did the feast, which is coming soon, did that just cook itself? Spontaneous combustion, poof, all of a sudden there was rice, dal, sabji, pakoras. No. It took intelligence. Hare Krishna. Someone had to plan the menu. Someone had to cut the veg. It all happened with intelligence. This building, something's going on. When you want to buy a house, suppose you have a great house, but you don't like the neighborhood. Or you like the neighborhood, but you can't find the house you want. Do you just buy a lot and stack up all the ingredients for the house, and by that secret ingredients, TNT, blow your house into existence? By Chance Construction Company. You can, I'll start it. Swami By Chance Construction Company. Anyone going to buy a house from me? Don't worry. Just stack it all in a lot and we'll blow it into place. You think, oh my, the old man's lost his mind. But there's intelligence. Wherever we see order, pattern, or symmetry, there's intelligence behind it. Now, ask any biologist, ask any, I don't know what, ask any physicist. This world is so finely tuned, talk to any astrophysicist. It is so finely tuned, so balanced, so interdependent. If you change the temperature of the water off Peru, if it changes by 0.3 degrees, Within a few years, that's worked its way all the way up to Scripps, and the interrelated, ecosystems living on that Scripps pier, they've all changed. Thousands of miles away, a slight degree change in the water temperature, and the whole thing is so interdependent, interbalanced, the whole thing changes, like billiard balls or dominoes. So it's just like you won't go to by chance construction company it's either or. Either everything happened by chance, or it has intelligence behind it. And intelligence implies purpose. It's not just we're floating down the world. What is it? Do kids still sing this? Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream? No. We used to sing it. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Anyone know the rest of it? Merrily, 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 life is just a dream. Well, what if it's not just a dream? What if there's a purpose? Here's another one for you. If we're talking about design, the presentation is that the goal of life is just to enjoy, to please our senses. If it tastes good, what is it? I saw a commercial some years ago. It was for beer, and it said you only go around once in life, so get all the gusto you can. Well, what if you don't only go around once in life? What if for every action, just like in physics, every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction? Even the Christians say, what is it? As you soweth, so shall you reap. What if this, I've had so many bodies. In this life, I'll ask you a question. Anyone know the riddle of the Sphinx? What animal has, how's it go, 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening? 4 in the morning, 2 legs, then 3. What is it? A human. Defend your answer, young man. How is it possible? 4, then 2, then 3. 1 year as a baby, you're crawling, that's 4, all right? When you grow up on 2, you still got 1 left. What about 3? Where's Exhibit A? Here you go. Somebody one time, not to be macabre, but there was a man who died all of a sudden. He's 65, 70 years old, but he died all of a sudden. When he went before Yamaraj, the Lord of Death, he said, I want to file a complaint. Where's the complaint box? If you're ever before Yamaraj, I don't recommend that approach, but that's another. Actually, devotees, we don't see Yamaraj. But this man complained. I want to file a complaint. Where's the complaint box? And Yamaraj, he was quite apologetic. He said, what's the issue? What's the problem? He said, well, you took me all of a sudden. You didn't give me any warning. Yamaraj said, no. Didn't I give you glasses? Didn't I give you gray hair? Didn't I give you a cane? So keep it in mind. So if there's a design, and you can make a strong argument, most logical argument that there is, design means there is a purpose. And the presentation is the purpose of this world is to enjoy, eat, drink, and be merry. Then my question is, this is the best God could do? There's birth, there's disease, there's old age. The older you get, trust me, you haven't seen anything yet if you're under, I don't know what it is. Actually, Ayurveda says that 24 years old is the apex of the senses in the body. Generally speaking, that's when they're strongest and the most enjoyable. So anybody over 24, it's all downhill, my friends. Of course, if you recognize the soul, your actual self, then it's a different experience. But the point I'm trying to make is that if I have a hammer and I try to use it as a screwdriver, is that going to be successful? I mean, I suppose you could do a few things with it. If I try to use a flute as a hammer, okay, if it's a small nail, I might get something. But what's the frustration? What's the frustration with using a hammer as a screwdriver or a flute as a hammer? What's the frustration? It's not designed for that. It has a different purpose. Now, automatically happiness will come. It'll come. Does anyone here, let me ask you a question, and I'm not asking any masochists to out themselves, but does anyone here seek out pain? Do you wake up in the morning and say, you know, I want to be miserable today? Anybody? I mean, I imagine there's somebody, but somebody raising their hand. There's one in every crowd. No. We don't seek unhappiness, but does unhappiness come? I mean, if we're honest, it does. The Bhagavatam makes this a similar point. It says, just as unhappiness will come unsought, what should we conclude about happiness? It will also come. Bhagavatam gives the example on the other side of the coin. You can have an expert boat, you can have an expert captain, and still the boat will sink. What's the famous example in relatively recent times? The Titanic, the unsinkable, right? Well, the material nature was more than willing to accept the challenge. I think it was maiden voyage, wasn't it? Yes. Sometimes you have an expert physician. It's a long time ago, so no one will remember the person, but there was a very nice couple. I'm not trying to scare the wits out of you, but it should be a little sober. There was a very nice man and his wife, and he went to have his tonsils removed. It was even an outpatient operation. You know, he was in there for a couple hours and was going to go home. They were going to go watch a movie afterwards. She showed up, she went shopping, whatever, dropped him off, came back 2 hours later. Well, sorry, Mrs. So-and-so, we nicked a blood vessel, and he bled to death and is dead, gone. So in spite of an expert physician, a minor thing, bam, I'll give you another one, just to drill it home. This happened a few years ago right up here at Del Mar, where the turf meets the surf. There was a couple, 65, 70 years old, and they went to, gambling means you might as well light your money on fire. So they thought, well, let's just have fun. We'll just go, we're going to spend $200. We know we're not going to win it back, but hey, it's fun, right? So they went. Now, in the fifth race, there was a horse that had the same name as their granddaughter. It's blind in one eye, lame in one leg, but hey, why not? Just for fun. So they bet on the horse. And lo and behold, the horse won. And they announced it, that there was only one person bet on this horse. They won $25,000. Everyone was congratulating them. Wow! The man was so elated that he had a heart attack and fell over dead. And it's a true story. It was in that Oracle of Truth, the San Diego Union. And the interesting thing was sort of a dark night of the soul. The wives go for the ticket, stay with the husband. Go for the ticket, because when he fell over, the ticket blew out into the audience. So she was like, stay with the ticket, go with the husband, stay, I don't know what she did. But the point is, what happened is she lost the husband and lost the ticket. So this world, if it's designed for us to enjoy, then why isn't it more enjoyable? Why has it got baked into it? Birth, death, disease, old age. Well, maybe it has another purpose. If I go to the hospital and pretty nurses, free cable, a room with a view, fantastic. They have a little menu. I don't recommend it, but you can pick out whatever you want. Fantastic. Then they come in one day and say, all right, Mr. Swami, time for your spinal tap. Time for your, what? They come at you with a horse needle. Hey, wait a minute. I'm here for the free cable. And the pretty nurses. Is that the purpose of the hospital? To make you comfortable? Is that the purpose? Hey, I got a motorized bed. What are you talking about? I can, different positions. Is that the purpose of it? You stay there all day playing with a hospital bed? We had a guy when I went to high school. As they say, he was not the sharpest bulb, the brightest bulb in the chandelier. Usually you graduate from high school around 17, 18. This guy was 21 years old. But he was big size. The football coach loved him. He took advanced filmmaking, basket weaving, whatever it was, Was that the purpose of the high school, to have a good time? Is that the purpose of college? What's the anyone know the Latin root for the word education? It means to draw forth, to bring out, as from darkness to light. So if this world has a purpose and has a design, therefore it has a purpose. If it has a purpose, and I'm trying to make that purpose enjoying, I'm trying to put a square peg in a round hole, then what is its actual purpose? It doesn't mean you don't have happiness, you don't have love, you don't have respect and affection of your family. It doesn't mean any of that. But it means that is not the ultimate goal of the whole thing. Okay, so have I drilled home some philosophical points? Okay, just so you don't think it's fantasy or romance or a fairy story my grandmother told me. The summary, the quick summary, because we got a few more minutes. The quick it is tradition. There's demigod worship. There are different powerful entities, just like there's a mayor, there's a police chief, there's even a dog catcher, you know. So there's in Christianity, in the Vedic tradition, Vedic means Vedas, coming from our source books, the Vedas. It's described that there's entities, powerful entities, in charge of different forces in the universe. Oh, well, that's Greek mythology. No, it makes complete sense. Even in Christianity, who will criticize, something's going on. She needs help. You want to help her? Do we have a gentleman amongst us? No. All right, then. The truth will out. Even in Christianity, they have, because they criticize, a well-managed, one of the best hotels in the world is called Claridge's. And Claridge's has a ratio of 10 staff to every one guest. To run something nicely, you need to have people in charge of different things. The most complicated system, as we were describing earlier, is this universe, this creation. And there's not assistants, there's not agents. Rather, it makes sense. Someone in charge of fire, someone in charge of the wind, someone in charge of the water. It's described that there's 33 million demigods just to make this place run. It actually is common sense. That even the Christians, like I was saying, they have, what was it? I was looking it up today. They have angels, archangels, seraphims, cherubs. I forget, there's 9 different types. And they all have different roles and different jobs. So it's not that, oh, in Hinduism you believe a hodgepodge of many gods. And no. There's Krishna. Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam. The Brahma Samhita says, from one candle, I can light so many other candles, isn't it? From one candle, I can light so many other candles, each of the same candle power, right? But still there's an original candle. So Krishna is the Ishvara Parama Krishna. He's the original cause of all causes. Govindam Adi Purusham. So that God has a form and he has pastime. The governor can go to the prison house. Of course, sometimes he should go to the prison. That's another story. But the governor can visit the prison house. Does he become a prisoner? Rather, he can give, what do they call it? Not asylum, pardon. He can pardon someone. So that the supreme cause of all causes, Krishna, in his transcendental form, he comes to this world. And why does he come to this world? To remind us of its purpose. What is it? Parithanaya sadhunam vanasaya chajuskatam dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. That he comes to curb down the atheistic tendencies. He comes to give transcendental knowledge. Comes to protect his devotees. Krishna says in the Gita. But Prabhupada comments that actually these things are not the real reason Krishna comes. They used to have a circus. The circus are, I think they're because of animal cruelty. I think circuses are phasing out. But when I was a kid, the circus used to come through town. And they would have a parade through town. Why? Why did they parade with all the acts through town? Why? I mean, you know, we're monks, we don't go to movies, but why do they have a preview? What's the point of the preview? To make you watch the movie. You say, hey, well, that looks like fun. I'm going to go get that. Waste my hard-earned money. I'm going to go see it. Or why does the circus go through town? Because you say, oh, hey, the kids are the motivator. They see the clowns, they see the juggler, they see the tiger. Hey, they want to go. And just to keep them quiet, the parents will, all right, whatever, you know. But by seeing, they become attracted. So Prabhupada said, although there's many things are accomplished by Krishna in his appearance, the real reason he comes is to show us what it's like in the spiritual world, in the kingdom of God. One last thing, and then we'll talk a little bit about Govardhan Lila. Specifically, if I just blew it. Why does the shadow of the hand have 5 fingers? Anyone know why? Yeah, 2 for you. Because the hand has 5 fingers. The shadow has 5 fingers. There's a guy in Vrindavan who has 6 fingers. He's a tailor. Talk about the right occupation. It's true. It's right off Loy Bazaar. He's got 6 fingers. So, but if the shadow has 5 fingers, what can we understand about the original object? It's got 5 fingers. It's a reflection. We have form, we have relationships, we have activities, we have emotion. Young man, help her. Yeah, somebody help her. 2 strikes. Let's see if she comes back a 3rd time. Yeah, help her. So, the point is, as I was talking about, there's a purpose. Behind the design, there's a purpose. And the purpose of this world is to awaken our real understanding of who we are and what our real home is. It's not here just to fritter away our time, but not to waste it. This body is meant for self-realization. Our intelligence is meant for self-realization. And Krishna comes to show us what his activity... When we go, I used to wonder, what do you do when you go to heaven? When I was, a kid growing up, I thought, I don't even, they're with wings and playing a harp. I didn't like harp music. I hope I didn't offend anybody. I thought, what am I going to be doing? Standing around playing a harp? So what does God look like? Nobody knows. Or he's an old man with a beard. If I had a mystic power, who should I pick on? I'll pick on you there with a white kurta. You're a handsome-looking young man. Suppose I was a great yogi, and I could turn you into an 80-year-old. Poof! Would you take it? Oh, come on. No way. He's just being polite. Nobody wants it. Anybody ever, the explorers from Europe, did they come to America looking for the fountain of old age? Let me have a sip and turn into 80 years old. How can the source of all life, God, Krishna, the source of all life, how can the source of all life be an old man with gray hair and a beard? Show me the seamless logic in that. Rather, shouldn't the source of all beauty be the most beautiful? Shouldn't the source of all life be youthful? Nava Yovanam? What is a Brahma Samhita? Advaita Chuta Anadim Ananta Rupam Andhya Purana Purusham Nava Yovanam Cha. So even though Krishna's Purana Purusham, the oldest person, he's a fresh youth. That makes sense. So there is a spiritual world, there's a kingdom of God, that is our real home, and the purpose of this world is not just to fritter away our life, but to learn life's lessons. Like the purpose of a hospital is to get cured. Purpose of a school is to get educated. And if we have that view, we actually become happy. If we accept, what is Krishna sending me? What am I meant to learn by this situation? How can I grow? How can I deepen my love for Krishna? If that's how one approaches this world, they're free from fear, they're free from anxiety, so many things. So the knowledge is therapeutic, and these festival days are a chance to think about these things. Now, what time are we supposed? We end at 7:15? Yeah, okay. We got a few more. You're almost done. Before I forget, when I'm done, which will be soon, I promise, everyone circumambulates this Govardhan hill. We go around in a circle. Why? This is from the Garga Samhita. Hey, somebody can tell those kids, cool out. Move further away. They can just move further away. Not out to the street, but a little further away. Okay, so this is from the Garga Samhita. People want to know why to do something. Why? Do we just do it blindly? Just for fun. Because people, it's in every tradition, people just do things blindly. Well, we've always done it that way. Prabhupada, my teacher, the founder of the Hare Krishna movement, gives an analogy. He said, and if you've been to India, you've seen that often the Brahmins or the Pandits, they'll go down to, whether it's, the Jamuna or the Ganga, and they'll offer puja. And you'll see so many of them, especially on the special holiday, they're all lined up offering puja, right? Well, you got 25 Brahmins there, and they've all got the same type of puja tray. They get mixed up sometimes. So one Brahmin had a bright idea. He took a little piece of clay from the bank, and he put a ball of clay on his puja tray. So he figured he'll go take his dip. When he comes back, he'll see his ball. When it'll be there, he can distinguish it from the others. When he got out of the water, he came. All the Brahmins had also put a ball of clay. And they're thinking, oh, he must know some special puja, so we'll also do it. Or Prabhupada gives another example. He said there was a woman. She was getting married, and everything was great. Wonderful marriage, great husband, so many things. It could happen. So the, how's it go? Oh, so when it was time for her daughter to get married, she wanted her to have the similar blessings. So she went to the same temple and the same astrologer and the same, I forgot. In the mother's wedding, while they're setting up the Jagasthala, setting up everything, for the ceremony, there was a cat that kept running across the arena. And they're not very clean, what to do. So they don't want to hurt the cat, so they just put a basket over the cat. The cat was contained, the wedding went on, everything was fine. The woman had a wonderful marriage, had her own children, it was time for her daughter to get married. Got the same priest, same temple, same astrologer, everything same. Everything was all laid out. The priest said, we can start. The mother said, no, something's missing. He said, no, I've been doing this. It's definitely. She said, no, where's the cat in the basket? So why do we do things? There's actually a reason. And the reason, the purpose of human form of life is to awaken our self-realization, our actual identity with the self. The soul is Sat Chit Ananda. That is our default mode. Prabhupada said if we're not feeling full of happiness, full of knowledge, and free from all fear, we're doing something wrong. So today's a chance to think about these things, to meditate on them. The simple summary of Govardhan Puja is that the inhabitants of Vrindavan were worshipping these different devas. They were worshipping Indra, who provides rain. And just to make a point, Krishna convinced them, no, you just worship Govardhan Hill. Because Govardhan Hill provides all the needs for the cows. We're depending on the cows depend on grass. Grass comes from Govardhan Hill. So just worship Govardhan Hill. You don't have to worship Indra. Indra became extremely upset. It describes in Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna describes the different qualities of wisdom, the first key to opening the door to wisdom. Anyone know what quality is required first to gain real wisdom? Who said that? Oh, Dravida, or Bhagavad Gita. That's no surprise. Humility. So but I don't want to forget this. So Indra became outraged. I guess I'll say it this way, because we do want to keep going. The essence of the Indra Lila pastime is to simply take shelter of Krishna. It's described, there's one tradition, and their prayer is, give us, O God, who art in heaven, hallowed by thy name. What is it? But one line is, give us this day our daily bread. On one hand, it's good that you recognize the right source. But it's not really love of God, it's love of bread. Now, we're not just picking on one tradition. Another tradition, why do you worship God? Because you want to go to heaven and get, how many versions is it? 72. I think they've increased the number. Anyway, that's the real reason. Well, what about in the Hindu tradition? Om Jaya Jagadish Hari. Give me a new car and a house by the sea. So seeing God as Amazon, order supplier, God give me this, God give me that. Okay. But Vrindavan, here's an example. Mother Yasoda. Hare Krishna. Mother Yasoda. Why did Mother Yasoda use special grass to make special milk? What was she thinking? Well, she was thinking several things for feeding. Krishna had a little bit delinquent tendency. He was stealing from neighbors and this, and so she was thinking, if I make get the best milk from the best cows with the best grass, I can make the best sweets and yogurt, and Krishna will not steal from others. Of course, it's a pastime. Krishna steals what? He steals sweets, he steals the gopis' clothing, and he steals everyone's heart. So he's a famous thief. So, but what was Mother Yasoda's anxiety about cooking for Krishna? She wanted to make sure Krishna was well fed. I've got to feed Krishna nicely. As I said earlier, he was a little fat from Mother Yasoda's cooking, her butter. So she wasn't praying that you take care of me, give me my daily bread. It was selfless. That selfless love for Krishna actually is what everyone is looking for shelter. Everyone is looking for shelter, whether they do it by drugs or alcohol or their family or winning the Nobel Peace Prize, whatever it is. But all of that is flickering. And if one takes shelter of Krishna, that's permanent shelter. So we can end there. That's enough of that. And I want to read just one last thing to encourage you all to circumambulate this hill, to go around the hill. Everyone wants a benefit. Why do something if there's no benefit? Well, all of you will get this benefit. You should try to go around 3 times. But I don't know whether there's will once do, Dravida Prabhu? Huh? All right. So, now what do I want to read? Here's what I want. This is from the Garga Upanishad, Garga Samhita, that all holy tirthas are on Govardhan Hill. The summation of whatever holy tirtha there is, they're on this hill. And this is a replica of Govardhan Hill by mantra, by arti. It's actually infused. It's the same as going around the actual Govardhan Hill. In the 4 corners are the 4 dhams. Badrinath, Dwarka, Jagannath Puri, and Rameshwaram, the Chatur dhams, are on the 4 corners of Govardhan Hill. So you get the benefit of going to all of those. All the holy mountains, Hare Krishna to you, all the holy mountains, Badrinath, Kedarnath, they're all on Govardhan Hill. They're inside there. You get all success materially and spiritually. What more to ask for? Srinathji, the original Srinathji was Gopal. It's originally installed by Brajanabha, Krishna's great-grandson. Later on lost, rediscovered by Madhavinda Puri, and installed on Govardhan Hill. Later on, because of Aurangzeb, they had to move. He was attacking all the temples in Vrindavan. But that Srinathji is the same Gopal who was on top of Govardhan Hill. So when you circumambulate this hill, it's the same as going to Nathdwar and circumambulating Srinathji. We're almost done. If I haven't whetted your appetite enough. You become free from taking birth again. You get the benefit of visiting all holy mountains, and you receive the result of perfection in pious deeds, austerity, yoga, and knowing all the Vedas. Anyone not want to go around the hill now? All right, so we'll end there. And I think that's it. Everybody goes around, and then after that we have Sir Prashadam, isn't it? Oh, we got an interloper here. He's going for the hill early. Please try to stay. We will distribute the hill, and out of enthusiasm, sometimes everybody starts grabbing, and it gets a little chaotic. Don't worry, you'll get prashadam. We toss it to you. We do so many things. So, all righty. We have kirtan, and you go clockwise. Not counterclockwise, it unwinds the benefit. Clockwise, you get the benefit. So go the right way. Hare Krishna.